right?
Yeah. You said in the poll you talked about 1,700 respondents, right? And
Right.
it shows that 14%. She could increase her support by 14% if she reframed messaging, which focuses on Project 2025 policies, things of that nature.
Yep.
And one noticeable, phrase was "stop and frisk." I watched her
Yes.
interview at the audio town hall in Detroit, and she
Mm-hmm.
used that phrase "stop and frisk" a lot, a few times
Yes.
during her hour-long discussion. And I'm wondering why stop and frisk? Why that scare tactic talk phrase? I mean, we obviously know that it could lead to issues, but police have body cameras now. I mean, you look at certain data and you see crime down because of that technology. But why stop and frisk? Why not another phrase to energize black men? Why that?
Well, it's simple. Mr. Trump is, in his Agenda 47, has proposed stop and frisk as a national policing policy. Stop and frisk has been adjudicated as racially discriminatory. We know from the data from New York that 97% of the people stopped were black and Latino men. 90% of those stopped weren't really supposed to be under suspicion, right? And so, in the era where just 4 years ago, millions of people, particularly millennials and Gen Zers, went out to protest the killings of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, a person running on an agenda that will say, yeah, you could be stopped at any time because that's how black people die, is these sort of Terry stops, right? So that's the first reason. Second reason is Mr. Trump is also proposing that to make it harder for police departments who've been adjudicated to be brutalizing people of color to sign consent decrees
Yeah.
to compensate families and enter police reforms, like the body cameras that you've just talked about. And moreover, the body cameras haven't really shown to be effective because many departments turn them off.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so
that's
this is a
that's
clear
true.
area where she can differentiate herself. And I'm glad that you noticed as well that she was mentioning that
Yeah,
in
I mean,
the
it was
meeting.
clear she used that phrase. I thought maybe you talked to her before she went on, Dr. Tillery, because
Well,
that's the phrase that you said that she should be kind of,
yeah,
reframing to get. But again, the messaging issue. This is where you took out $250,000 worth of digital ads, right, to help point out bad economic
yes,
records, source of DEI bans, things of that nature, right? That
yes.
messaging. What are you finding about, first of all, going that way with the digital ads? Is it working? And is that stop and frisk messaging like it will it actually? Do you think it really actually will energize black men and they won't stay
Yeah,
home and they will vote?
yeah, absolutely. So with our ads, we know the two that we're running on Stop and Frisk, they're incredibly effective. They've reached 750,000 black voters in Atlanta and Milwaukee already.
Total
They are
or
total so
total?
far in 1 week total, and the average viewer reshares it 4 times. So that means that it's catching fire. People like it. They're sending it to other people. So that's the first thing.
Yeah.
What we know from our message testing poll is that so right now, VP Harris is at 47% of Gen Z black men are saying that they're going to vote for her, right? When you show them the stop and frisk messaging, what Donald Trump is promising to do, she goes up 20 points
Mm,
with that cohort.
yeah.
That's enough to guarantee a comfortable Barack Obama style win, right? In places like Atlanta, Detroit, and Philly. You don't give them that information. What we also know from some of our tests is that without the kind of focus on how bad Trump will be on policing and civil rights issues, VP Harris has been framing herself as a prosecutor. The prosecutor message actually depresses, it makes black men and young black women want to vote for her less. It makes them 10 to 15 points less likely to vote for her.
So she should
So,
not be using the prosecutor when she's messaging.
well, I wouldn't say that. I think the reason she's using the prosecutor messaging is that the older cohorts of voters like that messaging. I would also say that she's got to reassure us. Let's just be real. She's a candidate of color and a woman.
Yeah.
She's got to run somewhat to the right of a guy like Barack Obama to reassure swing voters. So
Yeah.
she needs to keep doing that. But that depresses black turnout. It absolutely does. It
Well,
also depresses turnout for young white folks too,
you
who also
mentioned
participated in Black Lives Matter marches. right?
You mentioned,